Hello, my stamping friends. My name is Holly Peterson, and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in the United States. And tonight I'm going to show you how to make this really fancy pop-up panel fun fold card. It does go into our regular envelope, but it is really thick, so you would definitely need to hand deliver or pay extra postage on it. But it just interlocks together and stands for display like that. And I have two different versions, this one here, but I'm going to demonstrate how we did this one here. So our supplies, let me get you the supplies that I'm using. I am using the Thoughtful Moments Hybrid Embossing Folder, and that's all of these greetings that you can emboss and cut at the same time. And I'll show you how we're going to do that. And then I also use the Impressions of Bloom. I am going to use one of the flowers in a center, but then we're going to just use a die from here as well. Oh, and I also have the Spotlight on Nature dies, and then a circle punch. So we have a whole bunch of measurements here. So we'll start out with our card base. The card base is Poppy Parade. It's 9.5 by 5.5, and it's scored at 1/2 inch, 2 5/8, 4 3/4, 6 7/8, and 9. Then I'll just go with what's on top here. So Spotlight on Nature, you need the little circle out of basic white, and it's the 5th largest circle. And then a 1 3/4 inch circle punch out of basic black. You need 8 mixed Media Florals designer paper that measures 1.5 by 1.5. Again, you need 8 of those. Shy Shamrock, you need 8 that measure 1 3/4 by 1 3/4. Poppy Parade, you need 8 that measure 2 by 2. You need another mixed Media Florals designer paper 2 by 2. Shy Shamrock 2 1/4 by 2 1/4. Poppy Parade 2.5 by 2.5. 2 little scraps here that'll go on the back layer here for the where you can write your greeting, sign your card. We need 4 pieces of the mixed Media Florals that measure 1 5/8 by 5. So we have 4 of those. We have 2 of the little leaf die cuts from the dies from the mixed Media Florals. We have 6 Poppy Parade layers that measure 1 7/8 by 5 1/4. 4 of them will be used to layer these, and 2 you can emboss. I didn't emboss those already, so I'll do that here real quick. And then you need 2 pieces of Poppy Parade that measure 3/4 inch by 5 and scored at 3/8 inch. You need 2 of those. And then for the back, for your sentiment, you need 2 pieces of basic white that measure 1 7/8 by 5 1/4. The hardest part of this whole card is getting everything cut. So let me emboss these 2 layers here real quick. I'm going to use the new Glass and Gardens. I'll do one at a time, and I'm going to center this in the middle. I always like to use the black line on the bottom here to make sure my layer is straight. I'm going to send that through the cut and emboss machine. And then we'll do that one more time. I love this embossing folder. It's so pretty. And again, it's Glass and Gardens. It's a set of 2. And it's part of the new online exclusives that were released at the beginning of the month. Okay, so we have those. Let's start layering things up here so we don't have quite so many pieces. Grab a silicone mat here. And I'm just going to use my Stamp and Seal. I love this paper. The black and white is really cool, but I love the printed on the other side as well. Okay, those layers are ready. These 3 are going to just layer on top of each other. Okay, and then all of these are going to get layered on each other. Like I said, once you get all these squares and everything cut, the assembly is pretty quick. It's a relatively easy card to make. It looks like it's difficult, but it's really pretty easy. My team leader, I joined Stampin' Up! Under France Martin, and for our team meeting, she does a kind of a stamp with me session at the end of the meeting, and that gives us all of the cutting dimensions, and then we go ahead and make the card along with her. And this is what she showed us the other month. Whenever you're changing your seal, you want to always clean out the excess glue that gets stuck at the top here. You want to make sure you do that on both sides, just so that it makes the tape runner work better. Let me grab a seal here. just, you can keep reusing the case over and over. You just drop the new seal in and stick it back together. Today is July 11th, and it's the last day of the two-tone cardstock that's on sale on 20% off. So if you haven't tried the two-tone cardstock, there's a lot of different techniques you can do with it. You can emboss it and then use like an emery board or a sander and sand off a layer of it. The two-tone cardstock is white in the middle. It's got a white core, whereas this cardstock is dyed all the way through for the same color. And it's a lot lighter weight than our regular cardstock. So in this case, if we were to use the two-tone cardstock, it would have made the card quite a bit lighter because the paper's not quite so heavy. And again, that sale ends today. Okay. Now we have these little pieces to go on. Some of these, the way that they the print is on them, I'm going to use them kind of as my background layer. Save the ones with more flowers on the front for the front part of the layers here, and I'll show you what I mean here in just a second. And I think I'm missing one of these. I was short one in my class and I forgot to cut another one, so I will add it later. Okay. Now what we're going to do, these pieces we can fold in half. I like to use my bone folder and reinforce that fold. Like that. I forgot to grab my tear and tape. Let me grab some of that. We're going to put tear and tape on both of these, both sides of these pieces. But we're not going to take the backing off just yet. This is what's going to cause our pieces to float. I think France called this a diagonal floating front panel, something like that. Okay. Now we're going to take our card base and the skinny folds are going to go back. And then this is a valley, and this is a mountain. This is a valley, and this is a mountain. we'll just reinforce those, make sure that the cardstock lines up good. Okay. The first thing I like to do, which I forgot to do on one of my examples, I want to put these pieces on first before I put my designer paper on here. Then that way it will hide the seams a little bit. So you want this folded edge up, and you're going to center it in here. Oh, one thing I want to do first is I'm going to take my snips and we're going to just cut diagonal. I think that's the right way. And so this folded edge is going to be up, and you're going to line it up with this folded edge here. And we're just going to kind of center it. Doesn't have to be exact. You want to leave this piece on here for now. We're going to do the same thing on this side. I think I'm going to cut this way. If it's not the right way, I'll show you how to fix it, because I've had to do that before. Again, the folded edge of this, you want to put on the other side with the folded edge right on that folded edge of the card space. Okay, so now we can put in these layers here. Well, it appears that my seal is not happy. Well, I will play with this one in a minute here. I'll get another one. I think this one's almost out as well, so I will come prepared. And it's hard to tell because my layer and my card base are the same color, but I'm just centering those on there. Hopefully this one plays nicer. With this pattern, of course, you want to make sure that your flowers are going in the right direction. And then I'm just overlapping that seam down there where I adhere this layer on there. on the other side. Okay, now we're ready to start putting our diagonal layers on. So I think this one was really the only one that didn't have much on it. And what you're going to do is you're going to put it in the center here, diagonal, and you're going to line the tip up on the fold to the top of the card here. And then you're going to add, make sure this tip is down the middle. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so I don't think it really matters. So I'm going to line the tip of this square up right in the fold and at the top of that score line. And then this tip here should go right down in the middle. And then we'll take another small one and we'll line it up with the bottom point, the point to the score. And then like that. And then we're going to take our big one, and I like to put a piece of tear and tape diagonally and you want these to float, so you only want to put your adhesive down the middle. And then you just kind of eyeball it to get it in the center, like that. And then these little ones, we're going to do basically the same thing. We're going to put some tear and tape here. On both ends. Okay, we're going to start with one side. And I wanted to put I already used that one. Silly me. Okay, so then you decide how you want your pattern to go. And now you're going to use this score line. You're going to line the tip of your square up right in the middle of that score line, right to the top. And make sure the bottom comes to the score line here. And then you're going to just glue it to this panel right here. Okay. And then we're going to bring this one down here. Line the corner up with the bottom of the card and in the center of the fold, like that. Then we're going to decide which one we want as our front piece. Again, we're going to put tear and tape diagonally. I like to use my take your pick to lift that backing off. And then we're going to put this one here. And then these edges here, we're going to just take our snips and snip those off. Like that. Okay, one more side to do and the basics of this card are done. Let's take this off. Again, the point goes on the score line at the top of the card. And then the bottom point goes along that score line as well. And then for this layer, I will cut another piece of designer paper. But what we'll want to do, let's go ahead and trim these corners. I noticed on my sample, when I closed it, they didn't meet exactly. I don't know, that probably won't bother most people, but I'm going to try and get it centered this time. So it looks like my two bottom pieces are pretty close. So then I will put some tear and tape on here. And then I'm going to use that bottom layer as a guide so that I know where to put this layer. Oh goodness, here. Okay, so now when it's closed, those line up a little bit better. Then to finish off the front, what I did with, let's move this to the side here. I don't know if you've used a hybrid embossing folder before, but what we're going to do is we're going to ink up the side of the folder that has Stampin' Up. And then this die, it kind of locks in place, but it doesn't lock. I mean, it will move pretty easy, but you can get it to lock in right there. So the first step is to take an ink pad. I'm using, this is Memento Black that I used a white craft pad and re-inked it with my Memento ink. Get some scratch paper here. So then you're just going to get all of your greetings inked up. You could do one at a time and just cut the paper for that one, but I'll show you what we're going to do that you can have some greetings on hand for a quick card if you need it. So now that we have that inked up, I'm going to take a 6x6 piece of basic white. Actually, I'm not going to do that yet. I'm going to take the die with the cutting edge up, and we're going to lock it in place there. And then we're going to take our 6x6, we're going to lay it over the top, close the folder. We're going to put the folded edge in first into our cut and emboss machine, and it's going to be platform 1, and then our folder, and then the specialty plate number 4. And even though it's a die, you still use the cutting sandwich for a 3D embossing folder. And then what you get you can just rinse this folder underneath warm water, and then I just stack it up and let it dry. Same thing with the die. I'll just rinse it off and stack it up and let it dry. Okay, let's move this paper. Make sure I don't have ink on. And now you have a whole bunch of greetings that are outlined in black that you can use on future cards. I'm going to use the Oh Happy Day again. And then what I'm going to do with these is I just have a little clear envelope. And I'm just going to stick them in here so that I have those ready when I need them. And then we're going to take the Poppy Parade and Summer Splash. Blends. I'm using the dark Shy Shamrock. Is that what color we're using? Yeah, Shy Shamrock and the dark Poppy Parade. And I'm just going to color the inside. And these are raised up, they're embossed. So then I'm just going to take my markers. If you don't have the blends, you can probably do this with the classic Stampin' Write markers as well. So we're going to do Oh Happy Day in the green. Like that. And then with the Poppy Parade, we'll color in the happy. And I'm not doing any blending whatsoever. I'm just coloring. I'm barely touching the paper because I don't want it to go outside the embossed area. Okay, then we're going to put some dimensionals on the back of this. I think 2 big ones will fit. And then let's see here. We're going to put this on our white circle. Just centered in there. Oh, it looks like I put my leaves behind this greeting instead of, oh, I put one behind the greeting. That might be too diagonal, we'll see. And then I put one behind the label. I'm just going to use a glue dot. And then we'll add some adhesive to the back. Maybe we'll just do glue dots. Whoops. Some days the struggle is real. Okay. So then we'll just stick that kind of down here in the front. And then we're going to finish our back. So these two pieces that we embossed, they're just going to go on this back side here. And since I embossed them, I think I'm going to use a little bit of liquid glue. Sorry, my dog is barking, if you can hear that. Something must have caught her eye. Okay, so there's those two panels. That's on our back. And then these two pieces we're going to just glue onto the center. And oh, I forgot to put my black circle down. Oh well. This black circle was supposed to go underneath here, but we'll do this one without. Then we just have two thin pieces of designer paper. These are just some of the scraps left over from cutting my squares. Looks like they're just a tad long, so we'll just snip those off. Like that. And then we'll just add some adhesive. There's our card all done. And then for the envelope, I just used one of the flower images with some Poppy Parade. And I just did the one flower. This is a two-step stamp, but I just did the one layer of that. And then that was Poppy Parade, and then the center is going to be Daffodil Delight. We'll just stamp that in the center. And there we have a really neat fun fold card. It does fit in the envelope, but like I said, it's pretty thick, so you will either need to hand deliver or put extra postage on your envelope. I appreciate you watching my video today and taking the time to do so. I guess that's it for now. I will see you next time. Bye.